Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Great to have you in the conversation. I'll tell you, we're going to get to this as the program develops, but there is one major upside to this debacle yesterday. This thing was a total debacle. Let's not try to shade it. Let's not try to pretend anything other than this was an epic failure of nerve, character, and spine on the part of the Republicans, both in the Senate and in the House. We'll play some sound bites and talk about all of that as the program moves forward. Now, the fascinating thing is to see the payoffs that Mitch McConnell took to take a dive in the Senate and the payoff that John Boehner took to take a dive in the House. It turns out, now that they've been able to dig into the details of this bill to resolve the budget and the debt ceiling standoff, that somebody snuck into this deal a $3 billion dam project for the state of Kentucky. That's where Mitch McConnell is from. So that was the sweetener. That was the Kentucky kickback for Mitch McConnell. If you will fold, if you will surrender, if you will collapse like a cheap Bedouin tent in a stiff desert breeze, we will give your state $3 billion for this dam project. So that was the price for Mitch McConnell. Remember the Louisiana Purchase, Mary Landrieu, she had to get some kind of concession so she would vote for Obamacare. Same thing happened up in Nebraska, the Cornhusker kickback. That guy, I forget who it was now, but he had to get some kind of sweetener. They bought his vote for Obamacare. Now we find out that they bought Mitch McConnell's vote for $3 billion. So you and I, out of our pockets, we're paying $3 billion. So Mitch McConnell can get a dam in Kentucky in order for him to vote for this monstrosity of a debt ceiling bill. Now, here's the deal with Boehner. This is what a lot of people don't know. And again, Boehner's spokesman is denying this, which I can understand, because if it's true, it's just outrageous. But this is from Mother Jones, and they are claiming that the source for this story is an aide to John Boehner. Let me see if I can grab that story. According to Mother Jones, again, this leans pretty far to the left, so we need to say that with a caveat. The point here is he's citing the aide, a highly placed Republican aide. Some House Democrats, according to this story 2 weeks ago, some House Democrats sent a private and informal message to House Speaker John Boehner: if you need to break with the diehard conservatives of your caucus to keep the government running and avoid a debt ceiling crisis, we might be able to try to help you protect your speakership should far-right Republicans rebel and challenge you. Now, they didn't promise they could do it, but they said, we will try. We would try it to protect you as the speaker. You got a pretty hardcore conservative of 40 or so strong conservatives in the House of Representatives. And remember, Boehner's got about 15 votes he can play with. He needs 218 votes to pass anything in the House. He's got 234 Republicans. So if he has 17 Republicans that he can't control, then he loses the ability to control the outcome of the vote. And last night, by the way, you know, this again, I don't understand the mindset of Republicans. I mean, there's not one single solitary thing I understand about the way they think. Because this was the fourth time last night, 62% of the Republicans last night voted against this debt ceiling bill. 62% of John Boehner's own party, his own caucus, voted against this debt ceiling bill. Another $1 trillion in debt, an increase in federal spending, complete funding for Obamacare. Here's an absolute, complete, total disaster. Spending goes up, the debt goes up, Obamacare is completely funded, and Boehner got nothing out of this. He got zero. He got zilch. Well, we'll hear Chuck Schumer confirm that. There's some kind of piddly little thing in there about income verification. Schumer says, that was a nothing. That was already in the bill. We gave away something that didn't matter. So that's a nothing to us. Didn't cost us anything. And that's the only thing that the Republicans have to show for this thing is a completely meaningless concession to something that was already in the law. So this is just a complete el foldo on the part of the Republicans. So, we'll hear Steve King later talk about the fact they've got a good, strong core conservative consensus now in the House, a solid group of social conservatives in the House of Representatives. And there's 40 of them. They got 40 of them. So Boehner can only afford to lose 17 or his speakership could be at risk. And here is the reason his speakership could be at risk. Under House rules, a speaker can be challenged anytime with a motion to vacate the speakership. And such a motion is privileged, meaning it zooms to the House floor without winding through any committee, cannot be blocked by a speaker or his allies, and is subject to a full vote of the House. Now, it would only take a single rebellious Tea Party in Boehner's caucus to force a vote on his speakership. Now, this was new information to me. I thought you could only change the speaker when you have an election. You get the House of Representatives seated, and that's when you pick your speaker, and you're stuck with that guy for 2 years. But according to House rules, at least if Mother Jones is accurate, I got no reason to doubt him, a vote to challenge, basically a vote of confidence, can be taken anytime at all. Anytime you have enough, and all it would take would be 17 Republicans to revolt and rebel against Boehner, then he's out, and somebody else would have to replace him as Speaker. And it could be Nancy Pelosi. I mean, that could be the possible outcome, and that's why they know that the Republicans wouldn't do it. Even these 17 Republicans, they would not take the risk, and I wouldn't blame them for doing it. They shouldn't do it because there's something worse than having John Boehner as the Speaker of the House, and that's having Nancy Pelosi as the Speaker of the House. But let me close the loop on what I was saying about Boehner. This was the fourth time that he has sent absolutely atrocious legislation to the floor of the House of Representatives against the objections of his own caucus, against the majority of the Republicans in his own caucus in the House of Representatives. Denny Hastert had what was called the Hastert rule. He says, look, I'm not even going to bring a bill to the floor of the House if it doesn't have the support of a majority of my own caucus. Well, 144 Republicans voted against this thing out of 234 Republicans. So what is that? About 70 or so Republicans, or 80 Republicans or so voted for this thing, or maybe 90. I don't know what the number is, 144 to 230, be about 90. So maybe you got 89, 90 Republicans that voted for this increase in the debt ceiling, this increased debt, throwing another brick in the backpack of their grandkids, voted to fully fund Obamacare, and in other words, gave the Democrats and Obama every single thing they wanted. But 144 voted against it. So John Boehner knew, I don't know what the percentage is, but maybe that's roughly 2/3 or so, 2/3 of his own caucus opposed this thing. And yet he violated the Hastert rule for the fourth time. The only way this thing could get through the House of Representatives is with Democratic votes. Not one Democrat voted against this thing. Every Democrat voted for it. You had 90 Republicans voted for it, and so it passed. Only 144 no votes, every single one from the Republicans. I'm proud that my Congressman, Alan Nunnally, voted against this thing. He cast, I thought, the right vote on this deal. So anyway, so this is the fourth time that Boehner's done it. You ask yourself, and all of these are on major bills. I mean, the fiscal cliff bill and now this debt ceiling bill. These are major pieces of legislation. And John Boehner has worked actively with the Democratic half of the House to get these things done. He has become, in effect, the de facto head of the Democratic caucus in the House of Representatives. It's not, I don't even know who the minority, it's not Nancy Pelosi that's heading up the Democratic caucus. It's John Boehner. He's working with them to get legislation through that is opposed by the majority of Republicans. Now, how in the world they keep this guy as Speaker? I mean, I don't understand that. Somebody's going to have to explain that to me. The Republicans yesterday gave this guy a standing ovation. I kid you not. They gave John Boehner a standing ovation after he ran up the white flag in a caucus meeting. They all stood to their feet and applauded this guy for this. We haven't seen a retreat like this since Dunkirk. We haven't seen a surrender like this since the French threw down their rifles and raised their hands in 1940. So how they give this guy a standing ovation, and they were saying all day yesterday, no, his speakership's not in jeopardy. We love the job he's doing. He's been the speaker we've longed for, looked for in the last 2 weeks. So apparently his position is not in jeopardy, and I do not understand it. But anyway, getting back to this challenge to his speakership, this could happen any time. But the Democrats know that if Boehner was afraid, they know that the Republicans know that if their revolt would give the speakership to Nancy Pelosi, because I assume the way it would work, there'd be a vote to keep Boehner and a vote for Pelosi. So the other candidate would probably be Pelosi. And so if they revolt, then the speakership of the House is going to shift to Nancy Pelosi. So they know that the Republicans wouldn't do that. The 17 or the 20 or the 40 would not launch a revolt if it meant giving the gavel to Nancy Pelosi. So apparently these Democrats came to John Boehner and they said, look, if you get a revolt from your side, we want you to stand with us on this. We want you to run up the white flag of surrender. We want you to vote with us. We want you to lead the charge to increase the debt by $1 trillion, increase federal spending, and fund Obamacare. And Boehner says, well, I could lose the speakership if I do that. And they said to him, according to Mother Jones, no, you won't. We will see to it that enough Democrats either will all stay home, or when that vote comes up, we will just vote present. We won't weigh in. We'll stay home or we won't vote. So all you're going to need is a majority of your own caucus to keep the speakership. And apparently that was enough to get Boehner to say, yes, great, I'm your guy. What do you want? Now, when we get on the other side of the break, I'll talk about the big upside of all of this. There's actually two of them, and I'll give you a sneak preview, and we'll follow up on the other side of the break. The one big silver lining in this cloud is Ted Cruz. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, the conservative movement now has a clearly established, identifiable, indisputable, unmistakable leader and champion, and that is Ted Cruz. We didn't have that before this showdown started. So that's a great thing. We've got a leader now. His name is Ted Cruz, and he's got lieutenants, Rand Paul and Mike Lee and some other good guys, 40 over in the House. So we got a general now for the Army of Conservatives. We got a lot of lieutenants, and we got an infantry of millions of people across the United States. Second thing that's working in our favor is Obamacare. This thing is more of a disaster than we ever imagined. So we got that going for us. Back in 2 Focal Point AFR Talk.